What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Trail Talk. I am your host, except I'm not a host, Eric.
You aren't.
My name's Evan, but just a normal guy, right?
You look like a host.
You get a mic and all of a sudden you think you're a host. Enough of that. We have Eric behind the camera. We're back here in our kind of like garagey pavilion. We're doing sort of some installs, right?
Yeah.
We've done some storage solutions, the rear rack. We've done a couple build walkarounds. We're coming back though to another modification. And here's why, Eric. Come on over here.
Yeah.
The rear panel that we have been missing for so long.
Yes.
Wouldn't you know, it shows up immediately after we complete the build breakdown. So today what we're talking about is a very common accessory or kind of set of accessories that people will do on a vehicle. We're talking about windshields, and we're going to show you how this goes on. Super easy. And then we're actually going to install and talk a little bit about the rear panel. Check that puppy out.
Damn.
Glass, by the way.
Nice.
We're going to talk a little bit about pros and cons, glass, poly, which do you get? Do you want this at all? And we're going to show you how it all goes on. Are you excited?
I am.
All right, and you're speaking for the people today.
I am speaking for the people. No more dust swirling in the cab.
No more vortex of dust. We'll talk about the vortex. We're not sure if it's scientific or not. Also, Erica, there's a problem today.
Let's hear it.
We always have a problem of some kind.
What are you looking at now?
Firstly,
Oh, yeah.
there's some Birkenstocks here.
Yeah.
An issue occurred this weekend. Long story short, somewhat severed my big toe.
Somewhat?
Sounds yeah, somewhat.
I saw pictures. It looks like hamburger. It's gross.
So this guy is wrapped up in gauze. There was an issue with my toe and a spike, and
Not good.
not good. So in between things where I have to wear shoes, I'm wearing socks and sandals.
I love that move.
On to the next thing. We're going to lay some stuff out. We're going to get on to setting up the vehicle for the rear panel install. And then don't worry, at the very end, and maybe throughout the video, we're going to talk about why you might want this stuff. Here's the pieces that we have. I already held this up. We have the actual glass is what we chose, rear panel. And then for below that, we have the sealer plate. I don't mean like it doesn't seal, like
Yeah.
I think that's the name of it, but this does like seal off the remaining, right, area. What we need to do, come on over here, also, you know, have a safe space, flat, vehicles in park. The key, I took the key, I threw it.
It's far away.
Nowhere near the vehicle.
Yes.
So what we need to do is, we're gonna lower the back. We're making some room around here where we're doing this. Then we need to take the seats out. And now we have our workspace, Eric. Then, look how easy that is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Once you get to be a little better at it, it goes fast. So, next thing we need to do is fit, so to speak, this bracket into place. This is the part we have to fill, and it's kind of a maneuver where you're getting these little clips underneath the bar,
Oh, yeah.
like so, and then it's kind of on here. And what we're gonna do next to make sure it's in the correct dry fitted spot, we're just gonna dry fit these screws so that we can, on the front side then, come around, mark the locations where we need to drill holes
Okay.
to do the final attachments. It'll make sense in a second, but just give me a moment. All right, so Eric,
Yeah.
I have the panel dry fitted. Is that the right word?
I get it.
Okay.
It makes sense. Yeah.
We've mocked it up.
There you go.
We're gonna mark the holes where we have to drill, where we can then insert the push pins that will retain the remainder of the panel. So there's both screws and push pins holding it in. I did just want to mention though, just while we're conveniently back here by the actual panel itself, Let's talk glass versus poly, okay? In a moment, in a couple more moments, then we'll talk about why you would even want to have such an accessory. But glass versus poly. If you've already opted into wanting a windshield, basically the decision you'll have to make is, do you want a glass panel or a hard poly windshield, and potentially one with a coating on it. So there's basically pros and cons, as we always say, right, Eric?
Yeah.
There's no right answer. There's what do you want for what you're going to use. The reasons why you would want glass. Glass has better clarity for longer over time. And a big reason behind that is it's more scratch resistant. It's actually stronger, like shatter, like actual resistance. Remember, Eric, when we first installed that windshield, the same day I then trailered it over to a different location, hail, straight on the new windshield.
Yeah, it was fine.
No problem. And it was like marble hail.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard that is in the world of hail, but
Hardness level of marble hail, 8.
level 8.
Let's call it 8.
So better clarity, certainly better resistance to scratching over time. However, that will come at a greater expense, Eric, right?
Yep.
It will also come at a weight expense. Yeah. So glass is going to be heavier than poly is. On the flip side, if you are to go the poly route, you are going to save weight. So if you're a little bit of a weight weenie, or you're just doing a super light rig, that could be a great option, and still having the benefits of a windshield overall, which we'll discuss in a moment. I'm sure you can just like common sense your way into some of them, protecting you from the wind. It is easier on your wallet, which is fantastic for poly, but over time, and again, I have some tips on poly, it will lose a little clarity. It may get more scratches on it depending on what you buy. So what I would recommend if you go with poly is get a hard-coated poly to prevent that as much as possible and still have the longevity out of the windshield. All of our poly windshields are hard-coated, super durable, awesome. Really, it just comes down to how much money do you want to spend, how much weight do you want to have, and what are you looking for benefits. For this build, we went glass for both the front and the rear, mainly for the benefits that I mentioned and the fact that we don't have too heavy of a build. We do have some things added, but we've tried to be conscious overall, so this is what we're running for now. So back to business here, Eric. I'm actually going to get in, but in a way that doesn't destroy my foot. I'm gonna get in here. This is actually kind of cozy. So we've mocked the panel up. We have the screws just kind of in place so that I can now mark these holes to drill for the final retaining, because this bottom part here needs to be sealed.
With those push pin clips.
Yeah, I don't know, does anyone else?
What do you call those things?
I call them Christmas trees.
Okay.
Does anyone do that? Have you ever heard that?
I've never heard of it, but I don't know. Maybe it's a thing.
I think I heard it a long time ago on a YouTube channel. It was a mister. If you're watching, tell me why you call them Christmas trees. And actually, do we put an Easter egg in for another, like, win a hat?
Sure.
Do we or do we not?
Yeah, we do. we do that now.
We do that now. Okay, if you've gotten this far, comment the word Christmas tree in the comments, and we might give away. We did hats last time. This time, t-shirts, Eric.
Oh, all right.
T-shirts. Comment Christmas tree in the comments, and we will send out to some amount of people free t-shirt.
Not a Christmas tree t-shirt.
Not a Christmas tree t-shirt, a Polaris
Got it.
t-shirt.
Okay.
Not one of our shirts either. It's time to drill. Last check to make sure I use the right size drill bit. There's 2 times you need to drill. Make sure you use the correct drill bit. So I'm looking, always keep instructions handy for somewhat frequent checks. Okay, I'm going to put on some safety glasses. Listen, am I wearing like gloves in real life?
Yes. Yes, you are.
Yes,
You are.
correct. But here's the problem. I have only 2 left-hand gloves right now.
Well, go upside down. There you go.
Do one of these.
Yep.
You're going to need 2 drill bits for this, 1/4 inch and 5/16 and or 6 and 8 millimeter. Very common sizes. Let's drill. One tip when you're in the vehicle doing this, down here, Eric, these are access panels
Okay.
so that it's easy to do maintenance through this section. Also, these actually are access panels. Don't step on them. So just still step on the floorboards, you know,
Yeah.
center console, nice little spot to still do some things too. And then, okay, so we have our holes. Basically, as you go through, don't drive it home. Just drill through the plastic and then stop, okay? Okay, here we go, Eric.
Yep.
Boom, and I'm out. This is at game speed. I'm just thinking of these tips. It is a little, there's not like metal supporting this, so I would just, at a safe distance away, hold it with your hand, like so. And we're through. And we're good.
Pretty easy looking.
Super easy. I mean, it's not like we're drilling into metal or anything. Good to go. So next we pop this back in. And, oh, watch your Christmas trees. So if you've worked on a car at all, or a side-by-side, you'll very much recognize these. So we have our hole in the panel.
Yes.
We have the hole beneath it we drilled. You push this in, it's in the up position. Boop, anchors it in. Literally the easiest thing. If you have done anything install-wise ever in the past, I'm sure you're a master at those already, and I'm sure you equally despise them when you have to take them out, put them back in, they break, you know.
Yeah.
You buy a 50 pack on Amazon that then doesn't fit the right correct size, you get, your standard everyday stuff. First thing you're gonna notice, what do you notice?
Something orange.
Yeah, that upside down glove situation was making my hand like arthritic. We have the correct gloves on. So what have we done? We dry fit the panel, we drilled the holes, we put the push pins in. I'm now on the back side here putting in the actual screws that kind of mount it to the frame. So if you were thinking this whole time, gosh, I'm not sure if push pins are like a good enough retaining system. They aren't really retaining it. These 4 screws that go into the frame are. The push pins are really simply just to hold that flat part totally sealed. In real life, well, this is real life, but a power tool would be highly recommended here. Eric and I, mainly driven by my own decisions, not Eric's. He's subject to this insanity. We continue to do these installs not in our fancy schmancy garage, which we still totally have access to.
We like it out here.
We like it out here, so we're doing stuff with hand tools. All right, Eric.
Yeah.
We're doing the final step here. Don't you dare touch it.
Okay.
So we lower these guys. On this side, come over here, we have these feet that I'm kind of snugging down. This is a collaborative effort. You're both pulling down from the top and kind of pushing these down at the same time, right? While I'm holding this, I'm gonna move this guy over. So now it's all snugged up. Eric,
Yeah.
one situation we encountered. Because we have rear speakers, we found that you do in fact have to remove the housing of the speaker, which isn't that hard, it's 3 screws. So you see right here, Eric, this little cutout, when the speaker's in, allows for the mechanism, the locking mechanism that holds the windshield. It allows for them to work together. But you do need to have this twist up and in before it'll fit. So this speaker, which easily could be unclipped, by the way, we know. It's held in with 2 bolts here and 1 on the inboard side. just Torx bit, you know. It's easy to take off, nothing too bad. Then this can pop up and fit in. So if you really want to do the most efficient total vehicle build, maybe do a windshield and panel before you get audio, right?
Good point.
Otherwise, no big deal. 3 screws, take it off. And then if you come on inside here, Eric, let me get this kind of out of our way. So we had the feet on the bottom. We already did the whole other side, so it looks all beautiful, right? But this is essentially the rotating piece. And similar to the front windshield, you'll get some tension, right? But you'll want that tension because it's holding the glass on. So you push a little from the outside to give it some slack, some room. Pop, holds right on.
Nice.
There's actually one more piece we're going to put down here on the other side to retain the glass on the bottom too, but let me reattach the speaker and we'll move to the final step. Our last step here, we have this clip, right? And this is going to require a drill. Trigger finger safety.
Got it.
Never leave it on the trigger. Okay, I'm going to put this right here. We're now going to add one more in the middle that has a screw that will pull tension on the top of this. See how I'm pushing it?
Yeah.
It'll suck it in. It'll complete the seal. Polaris is actually known for our cab systems being extremely sealed off. Remember that like dust vortex?
Yes, we don't want that.
Right. So I'm gonna put a little dot here. And here's a nice way to line it up. We have this pin in the middle, so I'm just gonna line it up directly above it. Boom. I know exactly where that needs to go. Okay, and let me drill it. I have the smaller drill bit now, right? Read the instructions. Don't just listen to me. There we go. Boom. Just get it started enough to not let everything fall away. Maybe I can come in like so. And now over here. So what I can see occurring, which is probably not picked up on camera, is that gap closed. No!
Oh, nice save.
Okay, so that's pretty retained. I don't think I can get any more out of it. Oh, just barely. We did it.
You did it.
It took, you filmed it.
I filmed it. We did it.
It took 5 extra minutes than we thought it would because we ended up, like I said, having to remove these speakers, Eric.
Yep.
But again, 3 bolts. There's always a thing you run into where you're like, gosh darn it, it wasn't quite the way I thought it was gonna go. But this was a very small hurdle, so I'm happy about that. What I'm most happy about though, look at how clean this is. This filler piece, totally the way this last screw in it seals it off, the bottom is sealed, all of this has rubber around it. That just looks so clean. Same thing from this side, like just changes the look, much more protection. We'll talk one more in a second. Right here, Eric, this is awesome how these integrate. We have these rubber bumpers that we had put on that weren't touching anything.
Yeah.
Now that we have the glass here, you'll notice, can you get in right here?
Yeah.
They are actually bumped and taking out the gap in the vibration and protecting the glass. Look at how clean this is. Fits together absolutely perfectly. And now, what we haven't talked about, Eric, come back to the front here. 1/100th of the install time for the windshield versus the rear panel.
Yeah.
Here's how easy this is. We did this like day one. I don't even think we showed this. We showed it in the top 10 mods video. But see these clips here?
Yep.
So this, literally, 5-second install. This arrives in a box, big flat box just like that. Clip, clip, okay? This is serious stuff here, Eric.
It is.
Clip, clip, and now the whole thing is free.
Yeah, that's nice.
The only thing you have to do, because there's this little ridge here from rain falling down into the seal area.
Right.
So like I can't pull it straight out, it just hits. Even if I lift it, I can get the whole thing out.
Wow,
Look at
that's fast.
whole windshield install.
Yeah, that's nice.
You can either just simply lift it or you can kind of like angle it under. But look at, give it a push. A little more of a push. Snug it up, right? It kind of sits on this whole bottom area. Again, rubber everywhere. Pull it over.
That's a satisfying click.
ASMR. And then we have these two. Installed. You can obviously see how easy this was, how a couple extra steps because we have the seal plate, the audio, but once you get this in, it is simply, again, turn the knob to secure it. From the entire perspective now, why would you want this? Well, firstly, you don't need it. You've waited this long, we're gonna talk about the actual benefits here. Vehicles as they come stock totally don't need any of this stuff, right? You don't have to mod it, you don't have to, but some people, you get a little crazy, we like to. We want different capabilities, different features. You can totally wear a helmet and eye protection, which you have to wear regardless, and you're good to go. But if you want to knock down some of the dust or the wind especially, right?
Yes.
It actually helps with cab noise and experience, just calms it down a little. Easier to converse amongst family, or if you're more so camping and going around, makes that a little bit easier.
It's warmer if it's cold.
Totally warmer if it's cold, hold some air in. Rain, mud, roost, dust, all this stuff, it's protecting you from that, right? What I recommended early on was if you only run the windshield, what have we talked about, Eric? The vortex. The vortex. If you only run the windshield, and again, we're not scientists, we don't know the science, but because it breaks wind around the windshield, and then there's a vehicle traveling through, I'm gonna say a word here, Eric, it creates negative air pressure in this space.
Okay.
You know, Formula One cars?
Sure.
What?
Sure.
But effectively, whatever the right word is, it pulls dust in the back of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So you want the actual rear panel with the windshield paired together so that they're basically like two vertical moving units that kind of create a normalized, again, not sure if that's the correct word, but create a nice calm space between. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's whipping dust around, maybe not whipping, but it's certainly pulling dust back into the cab. So, and we have experienced this just a little as we've not had the rear panel. Now we have the rear sealed off, cannot wait. And now even, with the rack in the back, like everything is sealed off this way too. Yeah, so it's just nice to have that little bit extra protection. You don't need to have a windshield. I actually, Eric, don't like windshields.
Right.
I've told you this.
Yes.
I've mentioned this on the early mod videos too. I'm super excited to run because we're kind of doing this. This is more of an adventure rig than it is I've always not liked windshields on razors where you just absolutely are shredding with goggles, whatever. Yeah. Obviously, you're still wearing goggles, but I'm very excited to have this panel and the front windshield for some of the adventures we're gonna go on. And, like Eric mentioned, heat. We are going to close this vehicle off for winter. Yes. Winter is coming, Eric. So, end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Trail Talk. Reminder, as cool as the rear end looks, and the speakers and all that, and the front and all that, and the whole vehicle, it's not that cool when you don't ride it, and it sits in the garage, and you don't even have a vortex of dust, but the whole vehicle's still dusty.
Right. Not cool.
So go out and ride your vehicle anywhere, with anyone, and come on back for the next episode of Trail Talk. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.